Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. It's Hammer's Headlines in association with the KUMB.com. Boys, it's Thursday. It's General Election Day in the UK. So if you can, vote if you're registered. I always something I've always been instilled to vote from a young age. Anyway, enough about politics. Let's talk about West Ham and politics. We've got a few stories to talk about. All about players leaving. And I think one of them you'll know who we're talking about because it's been everywhere. It's been a quiet last 20 hours or so in the West Ham world when it comes to player exits. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. It'd be great to get your views. Obviously, we did a video about the Lucas Paqueta situation as it broke yesterday about 11 o'clock in the evening UK time. And then this morning I spoke about Sugo Reguilon from Spurs as a potential Sevilla friends reunited with Julian Lopetegui, and then at lunchtime, the Rusty Rumour rating, the original Rumour rating, went through about a dozen more players. We're up to 152 players we've been linked with. Mental, innit? And we've just got into July. Happy 4th of July for our US comrades as well. Comrades, not comrades, our comrades. Hope you have a lovely, plenty of fireworks. That's what they do, innit? Lots of fireworks, I think, for 4th of July. Anyway, let's get into it because we've got a lot to get through. Let's talk about this one first. Let's talk about Kurt Zouma. We'll come to Paqueta in a minute, but I want to talk about Kurt Zouma. Now, from a fullback, centre-back position, our first choice centre-halves at the beginning of the season last year looked like they're both leaving. Well, we've been led to believe that, we believe that Aguerd's got a £38 million price tag on his head. The likes of Atletico Madrid, a few League A sides. I assume a couple of Saudi Pro League sides are sniffing round for Naif. I still think he's got a real future at West Ham, particularly under Julian Lopetegui, but apparently he's changed agents as well to push through a move. So we'll see what happens with that. Another one who's deemed surplus to requirements apparently is Kurt Zouma, who was captain last year. Personally, quite an ineffective captain, I thought, but I don't know what he was like in the dressing room and stuff like that. But obviously, the microcosm we see of 90 minutes across how many hours during the week just didn't enthuse me as a captain. And the fact that we've been linked to so many centre halves, we spoke about at lunchtime, potentially putting in another bids for Max Kilman and for Jean-Claire Todibo, as well as Jake O'Brien from Lyon and several others. It does seem we're trying to bulk up that area. Well, poor Dinos Mavropanos, no one's spoken about him. But anyway, according to reports, Kurt Zouma is on the Inter Milan shortlist for 2025. Now, the actual article comes from the print edition of the Turin-based newspaper Tutto Sport, and it's looking at the possibility of Kurt coming in. There's Kurt Zouma, also former West Ham linked player Jonathan Tah, and Boscari looking at his potential opportunities. There's going to be a situation where they've got their centre halves are going to be, so they got Francesco Crebi and Stefan de Zvuut. They're their main options as centre of the back three. However, they're both 37 and 33 respectively. So they're considering how they'll move on the pair and looking at a resolution to bring in players who could take over that mantle. And Kurt is apparently one of them. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But he was, ironically, he was linked when he was at Chelsea with a move to Inter like 5-6 years ago. So it's all coming full circle, apparently. But we do know that he's someone that we would look to move on if a reasonable deal came in for him. So could it be Inter Milan? Could he swap the the pie and mash of East London with the pasta and pizza of Milan? Lovely this time of year. Let's talk about Lucas Paqueta, shall we? Now, the news broke yesterday via a Brazilian journalist, a reasonably respected Brazilian journalist, saying that Flamengo were looking at some sort of deal to bring in West Ham. Now, the trouble was, the article he said was then translated poorly, and that article went out. So it did look like they were looking at, and actually, when you read it, it's a bit of guff, really. But however, it did say that despite reports that it is going to be not happening or it's just paper talk, apparently they've started contacts with West Ham, enabling the hire in terms of the transfer itself. Now, Fabrizio Romano's gone out and reposted that information. Although he's had a not great hit rate West Ham recently, particularly for Fabrizio Bruno, for example. But they're looking at a deal, an immediate deal, apparently, in terms of bringing him back to Flamengo, his first club, I believe. And West Ham looking to sell. Now, we weren't looking to sell, but obviously they had the contract, the release clause runs out, I believe, until the end of July. And then if we do sell him after July the 30 days, 31st of July, then we would obviously, they'll be open to negotiations, not a release clause as such. We were looking at, obviously, the Man City deal, and then that fell through, so to speak, in terms of the FA putting out a charge on the betting allegations. Now, according to X actually said, was it X? Let me just check. I think it was X. Yep, it was X. X was reporting that West Ham were increasingly confident that the FA doesn't have to have evidence to successfully prosecute Lucas Paqueta. Whether or not he's cleared of any charge in the immediate future remains unclear. However, as we said back on Tuesday with the interview with Julien and Tim, Julien was very adamant. Looking forward to seeing him back in a West Ham shirt, seeing he's part of the family. We all get together, and we know he's suffering and da. And then for this to happen, despite apparently these negotiations have been happening for the last few months. Obviously, we know Tim has been in Brazil, probably was negotiating for Fabrizio Bruno, who's at Flamengo, I believe, and maybe the conversation about Paqueta came up. I don't know, but it does seem to be some element of truth, but a lot of journalist guff, in my opinion. Fabrizio Romano has then come out today and said, where is it? I had it in. Where's it gone? Oh, bugger. Where's it gone? But he came out today. There we go. To say that apparently a board delegation, a Flamengo board delegation, is in England to hold face-to-face talks with West Ham about Lucas Paqueta. We obviously know Tim is in the UK now. He was in Brazil. He was in Germany. We know Tim is in. Obviously, he's in charge of that negotiation from a West Ham perspective. Flamengo were trying a loan move, but expected that to be difficult. Of a permanent transfer, more likely with clubs in contact, negotiations to follow with players camp also informed. Obviously, Lucas is in Brazil in the middle of the Copa America. Now, that was early this morning. Again, I don't know. Smoke without fire, potentially? Possibly. As I said, we know that this was something which was on the horizon last year and last summer until it all fell by the wayside, and then it's been sort of protracted as the FA charges, and then obviously for the FA charges to be given. Now, the thing that's I don't understand personally is
You can do that in the contacts app.
Apparently I can. Is why would a team like Flamengo take a risk in purchasing someone like Lucas Paqueta if he then gets subsequently banned? If West Ham are confident and they know that actually he's not going to get a ban and they're looking to sell him, we don't know. We don't know. But then that would sort of go against what was said on Tuesday. So there's going to be someone is bollocking somewhere, but we don't know who it is yet. It could be West Ham. It could be this journalist. It could be a bit of both. Now, in terms of reading between the lines, then I think there's something more to this personally, but we don't know. Again, that's pure speculation. There's something more to it. The other thing is, I have no doubt that when we was at Flamengo and Tim was talking about Fabrizio Bruno, for example, and he was out there talking about that deal, I have no doubt the conversation of how's our old boy Lucas Paqueta coming along, and probably Tim's like, well, the betting, and they may have said, well, we'll take him off your hands. That could have well happened. These discussions happen all the time, and that may have been the discussion that was happening a few months ago. Maybe it has intensified. If he is banned, then we obviously go down a legal route in terms of recuperating money from Lucas for these issues. I'd imagine that's part and parcel of what happens if he's banned for a prolonged period of time. And even a loan deal, if we went to Flamengo, right, okay, you get a loan deal for 6 months to the end of the Brazilian league, which will be December time, and it's 10 million quid. That's 10 million quid we wouldn't have had anyway. Particularly, we can't play. Similarly, we don't know, and so that's some money that can be reinvested potentially. I just genuinely don't know. I'm sure more will come out in the wash. I'm sure by the time I've published this, more has come out in the wash. But there we go. We'll keep an eye on that. And lastly, one player I think will be departing the club, only on another loan basis, is the West Ham under-21 captain Michael Forbes. Recently signed a new deal last year, I believe. But according to reports, he is due to sign a loan deal, a season-long loan deal with Bristol Rovers, the League One side, after agreeing terms on the loan deal for next season. He's 20. He's yet to feature in the senior squad, but will have the opportunity to get his taste for first team football. But despite not making a senior first team appearance, he has made a full international appearance for Northern Ireland back in November, I think it was. He came on for like 5 minutes in the 4-0 defeat to Sweden or Finland, I think. He signed his first professional deal a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure he signed a contract extension beginning of the year, which takes him to 2026. He was on the bench for one of the Conference League games, FCSB maybe, but then had a few injuries and that sort of season stalled. Last season, he made 12 appearances across all competitions. That's where he finished second in the PL2 and reached the last 16 of the EFL trophy. And I think this is a perfect move for him. I really like him as a player. When I watch him, he has that bit of old school Craig Dawson mentality about him, which I think we sort of West Ham fans need with their centre half. Big, he's brash, he's got a really deep Northern Ireland accent, which is quite intimidating when he's shouting out for people to do. He's very vocal, and I think it'll be the making of him. Me personally, I think he's the one I have more faith in breaking into the first team than someone like Kalen at the moment. But things change quickly. So I think for him to get out on loan is great. He's really good, and I wish him all the best. You see the effect someone like Freddie Potts had with a decent loan spell at the Rights club, and as I said, League Two, good. Incidentally, West Ham are in more academy news. West Ham have a major fight on our hands to keep some of our new prospects or our major prospects from leaving, as contract offers have been tabled. West Ham apparently fighting to keep hold of youngster Chineza Nwosu and have made contract offers to try and keep him. He's a big prospect, having represented England at under-16 level, but West Ham are battling for him not to leave. He's garnered a lot of interest. Obviously, we've seen lots of Divine go. We've seen various others go. We've seen various others stay as well and been offered new deals. But we've seen people like Jerry Amulu go, Dan Chesters, Jacob Knightbridge. We've seen the likes of Chiweda, Balogun, and Lewis Brown come into the academy. But we may have a fight on our hands. He made 12 appearances for the under 18s last year, despite his age, despite being under 16. And it appears Hammers would loathe for him to move. I mean, Man United are one of the sides looking at him, who may be a little bit hurt by us bringing in their academy player Balogun, but we'll keep an eye on that as an England under 16 international, and hopefully one for the pathway. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time. Sorry, I sort of went on a bit of a rant about Paqueta, but I'll be fascinated to get your views, because again, it's just one fat 40-year-old plus bloke from Church chatting in front of a webcam with a mic. It'd be interesting to get your views as well, because for me, there's no smoke without fire, but I don't think it's as much of a slam dunk as people make it out to be. Personally, I think it's more of an inquiry, and it might be something. But like I said, according to reports, according to what we've read, British Romano, a delegation from Flamengo are coming over to discuss. But that happens all the time, doesn't it? Maybe they kind of just discuss Fabrizio Bruno as well. If you saw an interview with Tim Vickery a couple of weeks ago, he said that he was, from what he heard, that Bruno was leaving and he was probably going to Europe. So maybe they're just doing a bog off, buy one, get on free. Anyway, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Don't forget to check out leadingourbrand.com. They'll have loads of fan opinions about Paqueta. I'm sure people claim to be ITKs in there in terms of the latest developments, but all that type of stuff will be on there as well. So much love. See you soon. Love ya. Bye-bye.